What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for February 15th, 2023. All right, so a couple big things coming out of Eagles camp. Both coordinators are gone. Steichen's going to the Colts as the head coach, and Gannon is going to Arizona. He just never came home. I think that the sounds of it, it looks like Brian Johnson, who the quarterback coach is likely going to be the new offensive coordinator. We'll see. I mean, I think he's done wonders with Hurts, and I think that's going to probably be a good thing having somewhat consistency with Jalen going into this year, which I think ultimately I think this is going to be, believe it or not, I think going into next season might be his breakout year. Defensively, I'm not sure what they're going to do. Probably in-house. But I don't know. I will say for all of the things that happened in the Super Bowl, it is like don't let that cloud your judgment on Gannon. He put together a pretty solid defense this year, so just something to keep in mind. The big story I think for this offseason is going to be the free agents, determining who they're going to sign, what they're going to do, and then you have sort of Hurts's contract extension out here. The cap is going up, and I could also see him being one of those guys like a Tom Brady who's like, you know what, I want to keep this consistent and give me players and make this long term and take some team friendly. I mean, I don't know though. It's a different kind of NFL than what it was back then. AJ Brown was in the news first for his. He came after Juju, which was funny, but. He also said, and people kind of were giving him crap for it, he said he wasn't a fan of them going and kicking that field goal to make it 27-21. And to be completely honest, I don't think any of us were. I think at that point, the way things were going, I would have rather and liked to have seen them go for it and stay aggressive, especially the way the defense wasn't doing anything. And I think, like I said, maybe it was emotional, but I don't think he said anything we weren't necessarily agreeing with. So we'll go from there. But those are the big stories. The both coordinators are gone, and like I said, say what you want. It's going to be tough to replace both coordinators. I think I read somewhere that hasn't happened in like 10 years. So that's definitely kind of discouraging. But let's do our Philly Sports Black History Spotlight for today. We're going to talk about Lurline Jones. She went to William Penn High School in Philadelphia, which was right up the street from Temple's campus, which is not there anymore. In the 50s, there was no official girls basketball. It was kind of more of like an intramural, and it was very disjointed. It was all about the boys. So she basically devoted her life to provide opportunities for inner city girls to play high school basketball. She's coached now in the school district of Philadelphia for almost 40 years. She has almost 700 wins, 12 city championships. She taught at University City, Georgetown, Germantown, and Martin Luther King. She actually was I thought this was pretty cool. Helped end the public league versus Catholic league championship game at the end of the season because one of the girls on her team basically were like, how come we can't play the Catholic League champion for sort of like the quote-unquote city championship? And she's like, you know what? I don't know. And she kind of took it upon herself to fight that battle. And I've read somewhere in an article, basically became a pariah to the archdiocese. Basically, and the archdiocese was like, screw it. We're not going to do it at all. In later years, now that both the public league and the archdiocese are in the PIAA, they do have the opportunity and everything to play. But I thought that was pretty cool that she stuck up for her team and said, why don't we do it? She was a big proponent of Title IX and basically was like, yo, we need to do this. And the Catholic League didn't like it too much, so they kind of just disbanded it. She was very active in the civil rights movement. She was as a student and basketball player at Morgan State. She really took this as like her passion and wanted to make it her fight and brought that back to Philadelphia and has provided so many opportunities for underprivileged minority girls not only just for basketball, but to go to college on scholarships. So she is sent by her own count over 300 of her girls to college on scholarships. So very, very cool to see and hear. And basically, the way I took it, she's almost single-handedly responsible for organizing and setting up girls public league basketball at a time when it was very disjointed and just intramurals, and there was nothing really official. Also co-founded the Developmental Basketball League in Philly, which is basically a 2-month summer league program for girls to kind of hone their skills. And so many players have come out of that. She's responsible for a couple of WNBA players and things like that. So today, shout out to Lurline Jones for all her work in the city of Philadelphia, helping minority girls have a chance and really get the opportunity to play basketball and use those basketball skills to ultimately get to college and have an education. So kudos for that. All right, today's Philly sports history, we're going to go way back to 1958. And number 7, Temple beat George Washington 62-55. Guy Rodgers led all scorers with 58. It was happening in 1958. Led all scorers with 18 points. Rodgers is a Hall of Famer. His number 5 is retired at the Liacouras Center up in the rafters by Temple. He also played in Philadelphia for the Warriors before they moved to San Francisco. But back to this game, it was Temple's 17th game they've won in a row. They started off that season losing 2 of their first 3 games to Kentucky and Cincinnati. Ultimately, then, after they lost that game to, I think they lost to Kentucky first and then Cincinnati, they didn't lose again until the Final Four when they lost once again to Kentucky. So they ended up, back then they had a third-place game. Temple played in the third-place game, beat Kansas State to be third nationally. So they ended up 27-3 that year, third place in the country. 2 of their losses were to Kentucky, which I think won the national championship that year anyway. So, I mean, I guess in a way you can make the argument that Temple was the second best team in the country that year. It was just sort of the luck of the draw. That was Temple's second Final Four in 3 seasons and ultimately would be their last Final Four even to this day. John took them to the 5 Elite Eights. But Hall of Fame coach Harry Litwack, whose name is also on the floor at the Liacouras Center, took them to the Final Four in 1958. But on this day, it was the Owls' 17th game in a row, beating George Washington 62-55. Like we said, both coordinators are out for the Eagles. It's going to be very curious to see, and I'll keep you updated on what happens as I hear more. But likely, at least offensively, they're going to stay in-house. And I also don't know what they're going to do defensively, if that's going to affect free agency. Fletcher Cox probably won't be back. Brandon Graham might retire. There's just a lot of question marks, and I think the next couple days is going to be huge because whoever they bring in, whether it's in-house or outside, is going to probably have an impact on how they proceed with free agency as well as the draft. So worth keeping an eye on. Big shout out to Lurline Jones for all of her work in the community and helping the girls of Philadelphia have these opportunities. Big game for the Sixers tonight against the Cavaliers. They come in 1 game separating them in the standings. Sixers in 3rd, Cavs in 4th. Saw the game last night against the Bucks and the Celtics. It was pretty good. They're the top 2 teams, so should be must-watch TV. We'll keep you updated on that tomorrow. Go have yourselves a Wednesday, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.